So we have the Cindered Wolf. We'll talk about it properly when we go through the lore. First, we're going to go through everything Anastasia did for the music, because I wanted Anastasia to have a chance to explain. Anastasia has slipped so many crazy secrets into the song for the animated intro. These are Anastasia's own words that they wanted to share about the music when it comes to the intro. It didn't let me pause my music for a second. My computer is working overtime right now. But yeah, let me play Anastasia's composition. There we go. So it'll play quietly in the background for now. Hi, I'm Anastasia, and I'm the composer of The Sheep and Wolf's Clothing. Oh, get out of here, stupid text things. What the... I'm gonna kill this. Technical difficulties, don't worry about it. Hi, I'm Anastasia, and I'm the composer for The Sheep and Wolf's Clothing, Fulgur Ovid anime intro. In this short text, I will be briefly, as my essay writing loving self I am, touch upon some cool things I've included in the music to follow up with the secret Easter eggs and ciphers of our pile. At the beginning, before we open into Legardus's part, I started in A minor, as in A stands for Archivist, our storyteller. It should seem distorted. In fact, let me go back to the beginning. That's why it feels a bit awkward and creepy. It should seem distorted with the slightly out-of-tune bell-like piano playing the Archivist's theme. The cello calls out first, being his representing instrument, even though it is not yet so prominent. And then all the strings slowly come in, rising before hell breaks loose with the flute whistle and epic drum strikes of boom, pa, 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 pow, into Legardus's theme, where most prominently the strings carry it. High strings for the overwhelming power Legardus feels, and low strings for the deep and rich dramatic effect. The horns boom and trumpets play in fanfare, building upon the feeling of a dystopian cyber city, with the drums leading the flow further eloping us into the fast-paced world. Yet there's still a sound of hope ever within those minor harmonies. It's then resolved into the Noctyx house scene, where the piano takes on the main role, representing Archivist as it plays Legardus's theme in a slight variation in a much softer and warm tune, laced with trills of the strings and flute in the background, before it is taken over by the oboe, flute, and clarinet, representing all the other Noctyx members as they playfully twirl and dance with one another, as the piano supports them with an arpeggio version of the theme, before the previously quiet cellos keep on rising, and then a high ringing in the ears, as the music drops indicating Archivist falls further in the scene. With every instrument's voice dimming to support the now prominent cellos representing Archivist and violas playing the Archivist theme, and the high strings anguish with their responsive call out to the theme like grunts and moans of pain within Archivist. Here we also modulate into E minor, where E stands for emotional damage. I am but a master of funnies. Yes, you are, Anna. This is crazy to me, by the way. The theme keeps dropping lower and lower, but instead with the bang of a fist, it changes in color, evoking mystery and questioning for what I decided to use as a church scale, C-sharp Dorian, so to convey that medieval and Celtic dark fantasy. The supporting holy-like choir of voices and strings then ring out in the chapel rising with the wolf. The mandolin introduces the first shepherd's theme, or better said, wolf's theme, with the flute, oboe, clarinet again reminiscing on family, friendship, before the flute suddenly starts to play the second shepherd's theme as the drums keep building up the tension of the wolf's journey. But then, as he emerges from the bushes, the music suddenly gets a heroic yet serene undertone, with the Julian pipes singing an ode to the shepherd and his herd, playing the second shepherd's theme as we come into the forest and to Shepherd's cottage. Now back in E stands for eternity, the woodwinds take over Wolf's theme, playing it in call and response with one another, as well as the subtle mandolin keeping a repeating figure, acting as a retrospective into his past, his memories, his battles, his achievements, all that has made him who he is today. As the horns gradually come in, all themes are played at the same time, falling into collective harmony. The first violins and the flute are playing Legardus's theme, with the second violins and violas playing the repeating figure ostinato, supported in the beginning. The cellos and the pipes playing a variation to the Archivist theme, and for the last climb, all rising with the Anden version of the Shepherd's theme. As sparks fly, the Archivist opens his eyes as the giant piano plays in F major, where F stands for Fulgur. Was it all a dream? As he stands up from the bed, one piano keeps the fast notes playing just like the stars in the never-ending universe, as another piano comes in playing tribute to the original intro music of Red, Grey, and Black, playing the notes and variations to its themes. There we go. With the second violin supporting it, the cellos spell out "Don't Be Led Astray" with their initial melody, as well as the basses in an extended form, while the first violins and flutes spell out Fulgur Ovid. I could go on explaining the alphabetical way I do this, but I've also been rambling on for far too long. Also notice how the strikes of the piano are stronger beats with the frame changing. All the main instruments represent legatus, archivist, and shepherd, all Fulgur Ovid. As Archivist hears a noise with Shiro and Bleep Bleep flashing through the window, the music starts to gradually accelerate and rise with the fast note piano changing its form. And I kid you not, it was first not on purpose, I just wanted to spice it up. But if you look at the clips of the MIDI data, it draws out two cats. So we have cat and cat hiding in the music too. The best thing is, it's playable. So this is the MIDI representation of the music. And as you can see on the far left side, there's what looks like two little faces drawn in emoji style with two little cat ears on top of them. And like Anna said, they didn't originally intend that. That's just how the music lined up. They saw two cat faces and it was like, oh my god, cat and cat here. So yeah, it looks like two little cat faces are just like joining us in our symphony. Then bam! They crash Fulgur to the floor, just like the mischievous confidants. Came boom pow landing into our wonderful sheet file. So the music also falls as we come into the stream. That's this bit. Hope you all enjoyed this short, I really did, explanation of the music and the music itself. I know it's not the traditional anime opening since I laid heavily on symphonic orchestra sounds, but I wanted it to really sound like an epic film score, with it creating the imagery and then with the cyberpunk-like synths and folkish sounds adding and shaping the scenes and the characters, adding texture in a different color. This is much more to encoding, especially with the bass line, and I believe also Morse code. I slightly forgot, but I'll try to find it all and write it out later, and I'll share a picture of a page that I used for the referencing. Because apparently there's like codes to use to write messages in music, which I did not know was a thing. But yeah, they've spelled out the words archivist, legatus, shepherd. They've spelled out the phrase "Don't Be Led Astray" and Fulgur Ovid, as well as Noctyx in the different like corresponding moments, as well as Morse code moments. On some sort of scale, I forget how they said it, but I'm sure they'll post about it on Twitter later. But they were explaining to me all these hidden meanings, and I was like, ah, I get it. I don't get it. But I get that musicians will understand it, and that's fucking insane to me. So not only do we have two cats hiding in the MIDI data, we also have messages being spelt out by the music while it just sounds like perfectly suitable music. It's crazy to me. It's mind-blowing. They like really gave me everything I wanted. Like I described some of the general vibes that I wanted for each scene and some of the instruments that I wanted. Like I was really heavily when it came to like the Uilleann pipes for the Shepherd theme. Outside of that, it was mostly just me saying things like, oh, you know, cyberpunk, synthwave kind of stuff for legatus, piano, like Dark Academia kind of music for Archivist, I guess. So yeah, Anna took that all on by herself and absolutely destroyed it. She did such a good job. Hidden messages and everything as well. It's crazy. So thank you so much, Anastasia, for taking that so damn seriously and delivering us such an incredible soundtrack, which really does deliver so much to us. So thank you. We're going to go through them all at the end, but yeah, since we're talking about it, Anna, thank you so much. Music composition, mixing and mastering, you did such a good job. Riri did such a good job when it came to the anime style intro video and still on screen as well. Kami did such a beautiful style for the visual novel style text box graphics. So thank you everybody who has worked so hard on this debut, where we've got orders to do things in. Next order, the lore. The Cindered Wolf's story. The Shepherd story. Either one works. God damn it.